This day in sports history. Hey, real quick, you've heard me talk a lot about the Sterling Soap Company over the past few months, and if you haven't tried out their soaps, I get it. It's not easy changing up your routine. But let me just say, if you give them a try, I'm nearly 100% certain you will have zero regrets. They carry not only bar soap, but shave soap, liquid body soap, body lotions, beard balm, lip balm, and a lot more. Plus, there are myriad scents to choose from. Their products are made with natural ingredients and scented oils, and they are committed to being environmentally conscious. And I always get a handwritten note on my packing slip, so I know it's been checked before shipping, and it's a nice little human touch in a world that seems to be going away from that. Give Sterling Soap a try today at sterlingsoap.com. This episode is brought to you by Firefly Books. From frozen ponds in small-town Canada to packed arenas under bright lights, hockey's journey is 150 years strong. Hockey Hall of Fame Timeline of the Game takes you through it all. 8 defining eras, hundreds of rare photos, legendary names, game-changing moments. Created with the Hockey Hall of Fame, this book is a visual time capsule of the sport's most iconic chapters. Whether you're a die-hard fan or looking for the ultimate holiday gift, Timeline of the Game is a must-have for every hockey lover. Pick up your copy today at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or bookshop.org. It's another day, and it's another This Day in Sports History, a member of the Sports History Network. Find more podcasts and more info at sportshistorynetwork.com. It's November 5th, and this seems to be a day for oddities, which is fine. We like odd things here on this podcast. We had Tiger Woods losing when history told us that he wouldn't. George Foreman shocked the world, defying the odds and his age, and a player got traded for a manager? It's one odd story after another on today's episode, but let's start with what happened on this day in 1989 in Minnesota. Now, I'm going to start off by playing a clip here. Now, listen closely and see if you can understand what happened in this football game based on Vikings head coach Jerry Burns in his post-game press conference following the Vikings game with the LA Rams.
Let me say something. As long as I'm in this job, Schnelker will be the offensive coach. I mean, no question about that. No question about that. Now, I don't like to name names after a game, but we can't be responsible for the blocking. We can't be responsible for the guys jumping offside. We can't be responsible for. We get down there and it was a dumb play by Anderson. I love Anderson, but it was a dumb play when his foot was shoe was coming off up the line screen. We were hollering take time out. We had a trap play called, and his shoe comes off. That ain't Bob Schnelker's fault. We have another trap play, and if Finney picks up his feet, he walks in. We got the pass to AC out there in the flat. The ball's thrown in low. That isn't Schnelker's fault. We got right down there. We got the second down, and I don't know what the hell. 2 yards ago, I don't know what 15, 40, whatever the hell it was, and Irwin jumps offside. Now, these are the things that have been hurting us all along, the little things. We're working at them to stop them. We moved the ball good today. We went down there, and we didn't get the ball in the end zone.
Now, after hearing that, what do you think happened in the game? Well, you may be surprised to learn that the Vikings actually won that game. But, like you heard Coach Burns say, they did not get the ball in the end zone. Instead, the barefooted Rich Karlis kicked 7 field goals, and then Minnesota won the game 23-21 in overtime after a blocked punt went out of the back of the end zone for a safety. So, Burns' post-game tirade was directed at fans who booed Offensive Coordinator Bob Schnelker during the game. There was a point where his picture had been put up on the Jumbotron, and copious booze poured out of the stands like pints of Grain Belt Brewing Prohibition lager on a Saturday night in Mankato. Burns defended his OC with his F-bomb-laced rant, and he was true to his word. Schnelker remained the offensive coordinator through the rest of the season, and a disappointing 1990 season before retiring from football. On this day in 1994, George Foreman shocked the boxing world. Heck, he shocked all of us when, at age 45, not only stepped into the ring in a heavyweight title fight with Michael Moorer, but he won, giving old guys like us everywhere hope that their sports life didn't end at 35 or 40 or 45. Nobody gave Foreman any shot to win this fight. He was older and slower, and only in the ring because Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, and Tommy Morrison were not available to fight. Foreman had lost his previous 2 bouts, first to Holyfield and then to Morrison. At 35-0, Moorer was the heavy favorite. Not only was he undefeated, he was 19 years younger, and he promised to carve Foreman up like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. Foreman had not been the heavyweight champion since losing to Muhammad Ali in 1974. He did step into the ring wearing the same orange trunks that he'd worn in the Rumble in the Jungle fight in '74 against Ali. Moorer started the fight pounding on Foreman, and after the 7th round, his manager Teddy Atlas compared Foreman to an old jalopy. It will run okay at a slow speed, but if you make him go faster, he's going to break down. Make him go faster, Atlas pleaded with Moorer. Through 9 rounds, Moorer was leading on everybody's scorecard. Here's his manager, John Davamos, talking about that night.
What people don't remember is up until the 10th round, Michael fought the best fight of his career. I mean, he was tremendous that night.
But in the 10th round, a rejuvenated Foreman started throwing some haymakers.
Great right hand landing for Foreman. He's had a pretty good round here at number 10.
Michael Moore is down.
Goes Moore on a right hand. An unbelievably close-in right hand shot.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It happened. It happened.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Not many people could. Foreman became the oldest heavyweight champion and also became the guy who'd gone the longest between heavyweight titles. A fight with Mike Tyson was teased, but never came to fruition. Foreman fought once more in 1995, beating Germany's Axel Schulz. He won a majority decision in that fight, but he refused a rematch and he was stripped of his titles. With 1994 being the year that the George Foreman grill debuted, he really didn't need to fight much more anyway. This episode is brought to you by McFarlane Books. They weren't on Wheaties boxes. They didn't have the headlines, but they were there, breaking barriers one pitch at a time. The Integration of Minor League Baseball, A History and Player Register 1946 to 1959 by Rick Swain and Gary C. Fink shines a light on the overlooked heroes who paved the way for future legends. From dusty bus rides to hostile crowds, these players fought for a place in a game that didn't want to see them win. More than history, it's a tribute to courage, perseverance, and the power of the game to change. Honor their legacy today and grab a copy of The Integration of Minor League Baseball at your favorite bookseller. On this day in 2000, it was one of those rare and odd occurrences when Tiger Woods had a lead after 54 holes, but did not cash the winner's check at the end. This was the Tour Championship played that year at East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta. Woods and Vijay Singh were tied at the top of the leaderboard after Saturday's 3rd round, with Phil Mickelson lurking just a shot back. Of course, 2000 was Tiger at his peak. He was the holder of 3 major championships, and he would capture his 4th to complete the Tiger Slam the following April. He'd won 9 times that year, and after winning the opening week in Hawaii back in January, he was trying to bookend it with a win at the Tour Championship here in November. Tiger had not lost a tournament after holding the 3rd round lead since Ed Fiori caught him 4 years earlier in his rookie season during the Quad Cities Open. Tiger did not have a Greg Norman-esque collapse on this day, or really even a bad day at all. He shot a 69 in the final group, but Phil shot 66 to win by 2. It was Mickelson's 4th win of the year, but even with the win, he would still finish a distant 2nd to Tiger on the money list, with Woods nearly doubling Mickelson's earnings for the season. On this day in 1946, Chuck Connors became the first professional basketball player to break a backboard. So the oddity here is how Chuck actually became the first to break a backboard. This was the home opener for the Boston Celtics in the new league, the Basketball Association of America. The NBA would not be a thing for 3 more years when the BAA and the NBL merged. Connors' Celtics were hosting the Chicago Stags. So, how did Connors break the backboard? Was it a high-flying windmill jam? How about a toss off the backboard, pull it behind the head, and then give it the rim rocker tomahawk treatment? No. He probably could dunk with 2 hands. He was 6 foot 7 inches, but those dunks would not be coming around for quite some time. Instead, Connors was the first out to warm up for the game, and he pulled the trigger on a 15-foot jump shot that hit the front of the rim, and the backboard exploded, sending tiny shards of glass everywhere. Apparently, the rim had not been properly installed. Now, that happens today, and the fix takes, about 10 minutes max? Well, first year of the league, no spares were in the Boston arena, where the Celtics played in 46, and so the search began for a replacement basket. Celtics publicist Howie McHugh was able to track a replacement down at the Boston Garden, the future home of the Celtics. They were about 2.5 miles away. McHugh went to get the goal, but he ran into problem number 2. Gene Autry's circus was in town that night with an upcoming show at the Garden. The goal was in a pen with the show's bull. It took a couple of bucks for McHugh to bribe 2 cowboys to go retrieve it for him and put it on his truck. It took a while, and the game started a little bit late. The Stags got 28 points from Max Zaslofsky on the way to a 57-55 win. The Rifleman Chuck Connors had 8 points. But at least Celtics coach John Honey Russell had a built-in excuse for the loss. They had a hard time finding the basket. Our guys shot so bad they broke the backboard. The guys misunderstood when I said fast break. Okay, I'll stop right there. Anyway, Connors would not break any more backboards in his career. He played just over 2 years in the BAA, left to play professional baseball, first with the Brooklyn Dodgers and then the Chicago Cubs, before becoming a television and movie star, with his most notable role of Lucas McCain with the 6-year run of The Rifleman on television. On to our next oddity, and for this one we go back just a couple of years to 2023, when Houston Texans running back Dare Ogunbowale kicked a 29-yard field goal. The Texans were playing at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Texans trailed 17-10 at half, but they had a little bit of a problem. Their kicker, Kaime Fairbairn, was injured. He had a quad muscle pull, and he was not coming back for the second half. So they started looking around for anybody who could kick the football. NFL teams carry a 53-man active roster, but only 48 players are active on game day. Punter Cam Johnston was the holder on place kicks, so he apparently wasn't an option, so they turned to reserve running back Ogunbowale. Now, he'd been born in the U.S., but he had Nigerian parents, and soccer was a big part of his life growing up. He handled kickoffs in the second half, but when a Texan drive stalled at the 12-yard line in the fourth quarter with the score tied at 30, they turned to Ogunbowale to come through. Now, granted, the NFL PAT is 33 yards, so this field goal attempt was shorter than the one-pointer that he might have attempted after a touchdown, but still, he's coming in a little bit cold. Of course, he nailed it, and it was not a line drive just over the bar screamer. It was a legit kick. And with that successful attempt, Ogunbowale became the first non-kicker to make a field goal in an NFL game since 2004, when Wes Welker stepped in to kick for the Miami Dolphins. On to baseball now, and a rather odd trade that happened on this day in 1976. The Oakland Athletics needed a catcher. But who should they offer in return? They thought about it a little bit, and then they said, how about their manager, Chuck Tanner? Done deal. The Pirates were without a manager after Danny Murtaugh had retired following the '76 season. The A's sent Tanner to the Pittsburgh Pirates for catcher Manny Sanguillen and threw in $100,000. The deal actually turned out great for Pittsburgh. Tanner spent the next 10 years with the Pirates, and he managed them to the World Series win in 1979. Sanguillen was in Oakland for only 1 year and then went back to Pittsburgh to play the final 3 years of his career. The trade on this day was just the second time in Major League history that a manager was traded for a player. The New York Mets traded pitcher Bill Dennehy to the Washington Senators for Gil Hodges back in 1967. Of course, that one turned out pretty well for the Mets as well. It kinda sorta happened twice since '76. Lou Piniella in 2002 was a little bit different. Players were exchanged between Seattle and Tampa Bay as compensation for Lou going from the Pacific Northwest to the Gulf Coast. And in 2011, Ozzie Guillen went from Chicago to the Florida Marlins to manage, and the Marlins compensated with 2 players. And since we did a whole episode of odd things, it makes sense that I do a "that's got nothing to do with sports" fun fact that's a little bit strange. The most successful pirate was a Chinese woman named Ching She, though she went by other names as well. At the height of her power on the high seas, Ching commanded the Red Flag fleet of 300 ships and about 40,000 men. She actually retired at 35 and lived out the remainder of her life quietly and died a natural death in 1844 at the age of 69. Kind of rare for a pirate. That's all I've got for you today. Come on back tomorrow for another edition of This Day in Sports History. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.